Hello, it's Tsushio here. A while ago I made the Chris video on how to build her, but now I want to talk about how do you play her and when do you pick her. Because if you find yourself never picking Chris, then Chris is not going to be really effective in the box. So I played with Chris a couple of times since the video. One of them is my matches versus Zelda. In both matches, I played Chris in both times, as well as picking Chris a couple more times after that. So why did I pick her, and how do you play her? So in this match, look at the pick and bans here. We have Juggler on both sides, there's a Claret Liana, as well as a Bozo Rachel on Zelda's side. And on my side I have a Luna that can faction buff for all the princess units. Here we have Liana here, and a Cherry. So if I pick up Josh, Josh can go very well with my existing princess team here. Using Act again, Josh can potentially act twice and drop 2 AoEs. That can threaten to get a kill, but my opponent also have Liana, so it might be difficult to use Josh here. I don't really like this map, playing Josh, just because of how you can hide from Josh from all of these areas where it's like difficult to get Josh's AoE down. Other than that, I do have a Luna that can speed up Josh, so I could have made Josh work. He can also stab these mages, which is Phantom Raid and the Magic Eye, do bonus damage against, but instead of choosing Josh here, I pick up Chris. So why did I pick up Chris here? It's because I see this Bozo, and if the Bozo drops any sort of AoEs like Black Hole Earthquake, I would have to spend one whole action with Liana here just to dispel all the debuffs. That means I have to spend my only healer action dispelling, and that leaves the Juggler very vulnerable to follow-up attacks from either Claret or Rachel. So instead I can play it safer by bringing up Chris here. Chris do have a dispel, as well as mass attack. So if my opponent's Bozo gets either a lucky silence or just gets a lucky silence from Black Hole, then the mass attack can prevent all of it. Also, it does give the immunity to attack and int reductions. So both of these immunities are really good against Bozo. This one is good against Earthquake, and the silence immunity is good against Black Hole as well as the passive silence. So passively, if you just end Chris's turn beside units, she can dispel one debuff and apply random buff. So if you don't need to use dispel, you can also just use her passive to dispel some of those random debuffs. So this is why I choose Chris here, and as you can see I bring dispel against Bozo, mass attack against Bozo as well, because here I don't really need a mass attack, having Princess faction buff. So Juggler doesn't need the attack. So this is why I have mass attack, as well as just one attack skill. Now Chris is on the Gift of Eternal Life. If she attacks, she can heal up some wounded allies. So later on, as you can see here, I eventually do drop a mass attack, just preparing for Black Hole. And as we skip forward, here I just use Liana to heal, and then Bozo moves in with a Black Hole here, I think. Alright, so here the Bozo does drop an AoE here, but here I have to use the Liana action just to heal up Juggler, so that dispelled my whole team. Now if Chris had some sort of heal as well, she could have been the other healer, but She can't attack anyone here. Instead, I just use her as a buffer for now. But later on into the match, she does do other things like killing off a Claret that attacked me over there, as well as just preventing more debuffs from disposal. So after a few exchanges, I win a few trades here. My opponent is just on a Bozo mill. Now Bozo can't really do much against both a Liana plus a Chris dispelling for the whole team. So this game, Chris does do quite a bit here. Alright, so there's a second match against Zelda that I want to take a look at. In this game, I go with a more rush strategy by picking up Zelda. So after all these picks, I see one of the two choices here, Chris or Rachel. Rachel is one of my favorite legend units. She can do a lot of things like Gospel and really kill off anyone that she can touch with Reaper Scythe. But instead, I go with Chris. Chris also does a few things here, although as shown in this match, she doesn't do a lot of it, because Chris in this kind of box is a buffer that just waits around until she applies +3 mobility to your whole team. But here, it's Iris with her Tenyo hat that applies the +3 mobility to Knight of Mystery. So now, on turn 1, this Knight of Mystery along with Luna have a range that can strike my opponent just from their starting area, and also run back afterwards. So it was Iris Tenyo's hat that did it, but with Chris, I would have a lot more chances of applying +3 mobility to my high mobility team. So like Knight of Mystery really wants the mobility, run around, even if it's like in your own starting area, that can really improve Knight of Mystery's talent here. And then you can just keep throwing spears and run back. As well as Serena, if you give +3 mobility here, she can look to get a snipe and run back. Or just get a key snipe, like get a kill on Claret. That would be pretty good too. And then have everyone else do the carrying afterwards. Or I can kill off Luna, that makes Knight of Mystery better, and she can also potentially carry the team. So it's really getting the mobility buffs from Chris this time. She doesn't do a whole lot here just because she is kind of all ranged to use any of her attack skills, although I do bring them, just because I don't really have anything else to do. So Chris have a lot of uses here. Attacking and healing, bringing strength and buffs, attack buffs for her team, anyone that needs it. She also has mass shield, so if you want to go like more defensive or prevent random anti-heal debuffs, you can do that. Or you can just use her as a random buffer, like what I do here. She is like a better Olivier in my case, or like a better Leticia. It's like more random though, just because of that you're not guaranteed to get the right buffs on the right units, or if you'll get them at all, but when you do, like in this case, and after Zelda misplays a bit, this Knight of Mystery gets a free kill because of her extremely long range. That basically wins the match. Right, so that's really all for now. This is why you can use Chris and when to use her and how to use her. So let me know how you would use Chris, and I'll see you guys next time.